Now then, how you doing? I hope you're well. Painting animals is not my first discipline, but I do enjoy painting them from time to time when the inspiration takes me. On this occasion, the inspiration came from some local deer we've been enjoying seeing from the back of where we live. Let's take a look at them. This is the view out the back of our house. It used to be an old siding once upon a time for the railway line that runs just beyond the trees. I love to see how it changes throughout the year through all the different seasons and different weather conditions. Well, as you can see, it's now very much overgrown, abandoned, and something of a haven for visiting wildlife. In amongst the long grass, something stirs. Well, that'll be a deer then. We get two types here, fallow and roe deer. The one with the spots, that's a fallow deer. Oh, what can I say? It always feels like a privilege to see them, fleeting as they are. They can be there 1 minute and gone the next. But they clearly feel safe here, grazing and relaxing. It seems inevitable then that at some point I should perhaps have a go at painting them. The trick here is to generate the idea of vegetation in the mind of the viewer. I also want to draw attention to the fact that much of this detail is being produced through negative painting. And by that I mean that I'm not so much painting actual leaves with the dark green, but more painting around the outside of leaves so that they look light against a dark background. The eyes are vaguely diamond-shaped, which I've applied carefully with the same dark tone as I used previously and then softened off slightly, which helps towards shaping the face. Well, I think it goes without saying that these sort of details need to be added with great care. Correct placement of the eyes is essential, but also their scale. They mustn't be too large or in fact too small. If necessary, it's a good idea to be ready to lift them straight out again with tissue if they don't look quite right. Well, the same goes for the nose and mouth. Even the slightest variation in the angle of the mouth can change the deer's demeanour and character. I've switched to a warm brown colour mixed from burnt umber and moved on to the ears and the shape of the head. Well, this is largely a sculpting process whereby I'm adding brush marks and then softening them off to blend them into the surrounding wash. By doing so repeatedly, I can essentially mould the head like it's a piece of clay or wood. In fact, I do like to think of this as virtual sculpting, where applying brush marks and softening them off in this way is a bit like having an invisible hammer and chisel. Each brush mark creates a fresh new surface. As always, I'm also increasing the intensity of the mix slightly as I go. Where to place these brush marks is all down to close observation and diligent study. There's also quite a bit of trial and error going on. If a brush mark doesn't look quite right, then it's relatively easy to correct or quickly lift out, providing it's still damp. It is something of an intuitive process too. Sometimes you just have to go for it and see what happens. What's the worst can happen? In the end, sometimes we have to remind ourselves that it is just a bit of paint on a piece of paper. It's winter time and the old siding now has a far different look and feel to it. I was thrilled to capture this particular group on film. 8 of them altogether is a rare occurrence indeed, particularly with the stag right there in the centre. Well, I've been trying to capture some footage of the stag for some time, and in this next series of short clips, I think I finally managed to get the composition I've been looking for. Along the bottom of the trees is an old broken down wall. The stag has been grazing here for some time. All I had to do was wait. Shooting video is a great way to capture a subject, particularly one that is moving, since it enables me to extract a single frame. Moving on from that, a preliminary pencil sketch is a great way to explore and familiarise yourself with that subject. Drawing and painting stags is not something I'm that familiar with. I'm used to painting sheep, so indulging in a quick pencil sketch was something of a no-brainer. I liked the pose, but the horns worried me. This was an element I would need to give particular care to, along with the shape of the head and positioning of the eyes. In any wildlife drawing, getting the proportions right are of primary importance, and a pencil sketch like this gives me the chance to understand my subject a little bit more before putting paint to paper. I was a drawer long before I was a painter, so wielding a pencil comes relatively natural to me. One thing that has always fascinated me about the pencil as a tool is considering how simple it is, just how much power and creative energy it can produce in the right hands. With just a pencil and a sheet of paper, we can produce anything. We can tell stories, convey ideas, design cities, or even create whole worlds. In truth, the only limit to our creativity is our imagination. So, make it your mission to pick up a pencil today and draw something, anything. Who knows where it might lead you? I'm not a huge fan of using masking fluid, but one of its big advantages over negative painting is that of continuity. I have the reassurance of knowing that the animal is properly protected and that I can now do whatever I want to the background. Always try to remove the masking in the direction of its shape. Rubbing crossways runs the risk of stripping the top layer of paper away with it, tearing it and making an awful mess. Less is more might be an overused and slightly tired expression, but it is as true today as it's always been. In other words, there is much merit in providing just enough information for the viewer to understand a scene, but leaving just enough out for them to have to interpret it themselves, which should make for, hopefully, a far more satisfying viewing experience. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then you know the drill. Please do hit the like button. And if you'd like to see more, why not become a studio member of my YouTube channel? With that, you'll get instant access to the full-length, non-time-lapsed version of the video from which this has just been a very small extract. Not one, but two deer, in fact, a demonstrations double bill. I also have a bursting back catalogue of full-length demonstrations and tutorials just waiting for you to get stuck into. To subscribe, just hit that join button. There are other sign-up options also available, such as my online tuition service. If you're interested in any of that, you'll find full details in the video description below. And that's me done. Until next time, do take care.